Hello everybody, Jose of Joy of Fish Keeping. I'm taking this opportunity to do this video on my 90-gallon white-sanded tank. Notice these anubias here, they are pretty much down to the stem. This is a tank that I've been fighting with for a while. Not so much a tank, but the fish that are in it. The Buenos Aires tetra, they are, as many of you may know who have kept them, they do love plants, and it has been a struggle to keep any kind of plants, live plants, in this aquarium. And I have tried everything. Anubias are supposed to be very hardy plants, and I did a prior video where I said that I get giving up. Now if you're looking at the geophagus here, this the idea for this tank with white sand, it was primarily because of them. I love to see them constantly sifting the sand and going through it. I could tell you that this tank, I never have to siphon anything. Occasionally I will sift the sand with a net and just take any particles that really come off the wood. But as far between the FX6 filter that I keep here and the constant sifting action of the geophagus and some of the other ones, the little sifting too, sand pretty much remains kind of pristine. So this tank I have tried, as I said before, a lot of plants. I also have some Congo's tetras in there, and the Congo also, I have put this large anubia in there, and as soon as I put it in, this new bud, he just bit the whole bud off and carried it in his mouth for a while until he was able to swallow it. But anyway, so I decided to do a little bit of rearranging of the furniture here on my wife's suggestion. She's always certainly had a different eye than I did, and she said, why don't you just rescape this tank, move some things around, do this, do that. And I had decided to add plastic plants. I wanted the contrast between the colors of the fish. The tank just looked too plain before, and I just wanted to add some plants just to liven it up a little bit. Look at these guys here just sifting. It's just nice, interesting to watch them. But anyway, so what I decided to, my wife said, why don't you take this big piece of driftwood, which is a mapani wood, and just move it over to the other side. Okay, now on this one here, if you notice, I put a large leaf of lettuce there. This is not the romaine, but the other cabbage type lettuce. And if you take a look, they just constantly come nibbling on it. This large piece of lettuce, which is a big leaf, probably they finish it in about a day or so. So right here, I removed everything. And I was just with the net, I was just sifting some of the debris that was down there. Not much, but just some pieces of wood that came off. And I was just sifting the sand and just removing it. Once I finished setting up the white sand aquarium, this and another one, the sand remains really nice and clean. So I just took a little bit of time, and anything that had accumulated onto the large piece of driftwood, some of the stones that are in there, I just kind of gently sifted the stuff out, and it's just kind of easy to do. Just starting back to replace the hardscape into the tank. This mapani wood is a little bit heavy, so it's always kind of, every time I have to take it in and out for any kind of care, it's always afraid that I'm going to hit the tank or drop it or something. Some of the plants we're starting to reverse. My wife certainly had an eye and gave me some ideas and said, why don't you take, and she's giving me directions here and watching from a distance, checking progress out. You know, the great thing about at home with fish keeping is it's nice when you have teamwork. And her and my wife and my daughter are basically, a lot of the times, my eyes, they're the one who sees anything going on. Look, this fish looks sick, remove them, you know, can you take that couple out and let them breathe it? That's my wife, you know, with the mother instinct there. But her idea was, why don't you take the mapani woods that was on the other side? I have a large spray bar on one end of the tank that it comes all the way across, so it creates all the surface ripples and agitation of the water. And then I had, which you'll see at some point on the left side, I had these tall plastic plants, and they were kind of bending with the flow to one side. So she said, why don't you put the large driftwood on the left side, move some of the plants over there. I also use some tall plants at the end to hide the intake, the pre-filter. And she was just put this here, move that there. So she was just kind of constantly telling me what to do. So do listen to your partner always. So I was very happy at the end with the turnout, with her ideas and input and opinions. You know, it's a hobby for both. I do most of the work, most of the care, but when I'm not home, she's feeding the fry, she's keeping things, watching things. So here she goes further, giving directions here. So this was kind of fun. It took me a few hours to get this done. Usually I do my service of the tanks on a Saturday, which is primarily my only day off. So this was kind of fun doing this and seeing the change as it came along. And I just had to change some of the equipment around, and also some of the other tanks across. So you can see the discus tank at the end. On the left of that one is a tiger barb and others tank primarily. So there I have some other plastic plants there that I just put in front of the filter to hide it. So she made me do it. She made me take them out. I said, just take them out. It just makes the tank look kind of cheap, since I have a lot of natural plants. There is nothing wrong with plants looking plain or with plastic plants. In this tank I had really no choice but to do that. So I'm just refilling the tank here, draining here. I generally change 80% once a week on all the tanks. Fish tolerate it well, and they really have no real issues. Now that all the work is done, I'm just refilling the tank back with temperature match water. This little cup, I just punch a bunch of holes. I saw that on Garage Aquatics. Ron, I learned that little trick with one of his videos. He does provide a nice, soft, gentle flow, and it doesn't disturb the sand as much. These are products I like to use. I'm not sponsored by anyone. Secam Prime and Stability for bacteria, just cleaning off so many remaining floating particles. This was a fun project. My wife eyes sometimes more than one set of eyes are bright or better. This is the tank before some of these plants did not survive. This was just before this current change. You see that the plants are kind of swaying in one direction with the force of the water from the spray bar. There was some giant valve back there that did not make it, and then the dying or eaten anubias that are there at the front. So everything basically was inverted with additional stuff added. The same hardscape was used. The other thing that happened was that with the stump being on that side, it kind of breaks up a little bit of the floor, and some of the sand remains more on that edge because the flow of the water just kind of pushed the sand over to one side. So this the other thing that was done was that putting both things on the extremes just left a lot of space in the middle for the fish to swim, and these tall plastic pans provide some hiding space for the smaller barbs that are there, the Odessa barbs. So overall, it was a nice turnout. It is all these tanks are in my living room and part of the foyer there. So just having something that is visually pleasing is basically my goal for my display tanks. It's something that we look at every day, and it's to be their centerpiece for the living room. So it's nice just to make sure that they look pretty and pleasant to look at. Thank you so much for watching. This was a fun project again, and this was a team effort between my wife and I. The little one was playing and chatting with her friends. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed it. Any comments, anything that I could have done differently or made better other than the choice of plastic plank? I didn't really have much of a choice. I use a mix of plastic and silk plants, and the plants at the top, there is some water movement, but they don't seem to be affected as much as they did before. A lot of the plecos and corridors like hanging out under this log here. Another thing that it did also provide was on the other end, by the time the food made it around to the other end for the bottom feeders, most of these guys, there was not a lot left. So here, the food hits first the driftwood under there. So everybody seems to be getting more food also. Thank you. I hope you enjoy this video as much as I've enjoyed making it. Thank you so much for visiting. I'll leave you a few seconds of just visual enjoyment. Thank you. If you have not done so, please subscribe, share, like, and press the notification bell. Thank you for your support and visiting our channel.